Today we're going to be going over my ultimate clone fragrance buying guide for 2025. This is updated with some newer releases, but also contains some pre-existing clone fragrances as well that maybe have been out for a little while, but are still amazing and definitely worth getting. I think right now clones are one of the most popular things that are talked about in the fragrance community, and I think it's directly correlated with the continuous rise in prices that designer and niche fragrances have been experiencing. And I think people are getting fed up of paying those prices. And luckily, we're getting to a point with how good these clones are where you don't have to pay those prices in a lot of instances. And these are examples of that. So I will provide links to everything that we talk about today down below if you want to pick some of these clones up. Make sure you're shopping through discounters. That's about the only place you can get these. But I'll link them below. That way there's no question on whether or not they're authentic. And I'll drop the best prices on them as well. This first one is Cherry Cola. It's by Paris Corner, and probably kind of pretty obvious here. A lot of these will be when I name them off, and sometimes even the presentation gives it away, but it is a Mansera Tonka Cola clone, which I love. It's a fantastic release, utilizing not only, of course, a lot of tonka bean and a Coca-Cola smell, but quite a bit of cinnamon as well. It's kind of a warm, spicy DNA with you know, a little bit of a fizzy, bubbly nature, and it's kind of a play on a Roja Creation E type of scent, in my opinion. Now, it doesn't have the cognac, it doesn't have the tobacco, and it's missing some other key components as well, but I would definitely say that it is somewhat in that category, but again, with a pretty big twist. And some people will say, well, Mansera Tonka Cola isn't really all that expensive. You know, usually you can get it for around $85 to $90 on discounters, and that's true. You know, $85 to $90 for 120 ml full presentation niche is so reasonable. It's not even funny, but this is still more affordable. It's typically going to be around, I don't know, $25 to $30 or something. So the savings here might not be as profound as you'll see with some of these others that we're going to talk about, but there's still, you know, a delta there. And I think for a lot of people, just having the option to be able to get something like this and just get you really close to that smell without, you know, going there, and also just with saving some money, even if it's not a lot, this is a great option to go for. This one has great performance, just like Tonka Cola does. Everything about this stuff is really good and just about spot on. So if you want, you know, a nice, affordable alternative to Tonka Cola, this would be one that I would go for. And really, as far as I know, this is about the only clone of it. There probably are others, but I would say this is the most popular choice. Okay, this next one is a new release, and I've got to tell you, this is an incredible one. Going into it, you know, I didn't know, and I won't, you know, leave you hanging here. It's Rasasi Hawas Kobra, brand new release. It's available now. I'll link it down below, 50 bucks or so. Price will continue to drop, but starting price $50 is very reasonable for what you get in return. And when they announced like 4 or 5 fragrances at once, I don't know. I wasn't really thinking that I was going to be too impressed, but this is the first one that I got and that I tried, and it is really impressive. And you've seen my video already probably, but if you haven't, it's a nice take on Louis Vuitton Imagination, which became a really hot item, got very popular in the fragrance community, and of course is very expensive. You can only buy Louis Vuitton fragrances from Louis Vuitton. No other retailers even carry the stuff. It's just directly through their stores or their website, and the price is usually over $300 for a 100 ml full presentation. Expensive and exclusive. Obviously, most people are repulsed by that price, myself included, and so there have been some other clones released here and there, although not really from like, you know, major brands. I've seen some from like Alt and a few of those other types of clone brands, like the oil-based clones and stuff like that. And that's great, that's fine, but none of the Middle Eastern brands really had cloned it yet, at least up until this one, or at least this is the one that got the most popular off the gate here, and it is amazing. A little bit of a twist, you know, you do get the tea and all of the fresh citrus and the musk and everything that goes on in Imagination, but this one does have just a a little bit more of a heaviness to it and a little bit more of a bite to it. This is actually really, really strong. This is an amazing performer. I just recently tried Hawas Malibu as well, and this one is considerably stronger. So between those two new releases right now, this one definitely takes the cake in terms of performance. It's a really strong one. I was not expecting it to perform this good. I love it. Again, it's pretty much brand new, but this is easily a must-have. You gotta check out Hawas Kobra. This stuff is great. This next one is Amber Oud Exclusif Bleu by Amber Oud. That's a whole side story there on how that played out, and I think they're still selling these. Well, I know they are. So yeah, I don't know what the deal is there. But anyway, this is a clone of Layton, and it's honestly one of the best Layton clones that you can get. It is so impressive. Why is it impressive? One, because it's accurate. It smells really close. If I was blindfolded and I was smelling them side by side, I think it would be a pretty big challenge. I think I could tell Detour Noir apart, or at least I'd be able to easier than this. But this one, I think I would really struggle. The other thing is the quality to go along with the accuracy is great. There's nothing about this that smells cheap, synthetic, you know, two-dimensional, just kind of lacking any substance, nothing like that. This is a very full-bodied scent from start to finish. And I guess the third thing is just the price point. It comes in at a cheaper price than Layton by quite a bit. Now, this is not a quote-unquote cheap clone. You know, Detour Noir is 20 bucks or so. This is usually going to be somewhere around 50. I know, not crazy, and it's still much cheaper than Layton, but keep that in mind. You're paying about $30 to $35 more for this. To me, it's 1,000% worth spending that extra money, but again, that's not my choice to make. There's nothing wrong with Detour Noir, but when you basically stack everything up and go over the things that I just mentioned, the quality, the accuracy, and even the performance, this one does take the cake, and it is a fantastic take on Layton, to the point where if you have this, you simply just don't need to have Layton. It's that good. This next one is Maison Asrar Legacy. This is in their Royal Collection, and it sure does look like it. This bottle presentation is really, really nice. It's pretty heavy, first of all, so it has, you know, a quality feel to it. Feels, you know, kind of premium. Just the design, everything about it is really, really cool. And this one is a clone of Ex Nihilo Blue Talisman, which also was one that got, I think, pretty popular in the fragrance community, more so obviously on the niche side of things, and obviously going to be expensive. This one is not so much. Still around $40 to $50 for this, but again, the price difference between this and the real deal is still significant, especially when you consider this is, well, I believe it to be a 100 ml. It looks like it. Whereas Blue Talisman, I think, only comes in a 50 ml. Really nice bergamot pear amber-based scent with a little bit of a white floral component as well. Ultimately, when you smell this stuff, the first thing that at least comes to my mind is class. Class, sophistication, elegance. Is it their take on a blue fragrance? If it is way different than every other blue fragrance out there. You know, at what point do you draw the line when it comes to that comparison that I think a lot of people try to put things into a general category? People say the same thing about Elysium and all of these other things. Oh, they're just trying to make a blue fragrance, you know. Again, where does that line need to be drawn? Because if you're kind of insinuating that this smells like Sauvage or Bleu de Chanel or Dylan Blue, couldn't be further from any of those. A nice, unique, floral, citrus-based scent for men. It is leaning in on that amber note, but man, there's so much more to this stuff. It smells great. Same deal here. Great quality, amazing performance, very accurate. This is just a very, very well done clone. This is how they should be done. And this brand, Maison Asrar, not all that popular, but they do have some really good releases. This next one is the one and only Moonlit Night, and of course that's going to be by Fragrance World. I mean, when it comes to cloning the bottle as well as cloning the scent, Fragrance World is at the top of the game. I'll give them that for sure. They don't hold back. They're not shy about it. They go right for the throat there in terms of just really doubling down on everything about it. You know, the presentation, the scent, the name, everything. And I don't really even need to say it, but you know, it is a clone of the One Luminous Night, focusing heavily on the unique dates accord, giving it this type of gourmand sweetness, a ton of sandalwood and vanilla and rich tonka and everything like that. It's a fantastic smelling fragrance. The One Luminous Night is, and it's a shame that they discontinued it, but it's not as upsetting because we have this and it's so close that this is really all that matters. This next one is Genuine Man Giovanni Reserve. Hold on. Giovanni Genuine Man Reserve, I think is probably the correct order. And it's by Fragrance World. And again, I think the gradient, somewhat the shape of the bottle, not really though, and well, the name kind of tells you everything you need to know. It's a Fragrance World, like we were just talking about, and it's a clone of Gentleman Reserve Privé. I know people are going to say the same thing as we kind of talked about earlier. Gentleman Reserve Privé is not that expensive. No, it's not, but this is still cheaper. Just that's how the numbers work out. So this is having that whiskey, the iris, that chestnut accord, everything that is found in Reserve Privé is utilized in here, and it is nearly spot on to the point where it's pretty crazy. If you want to spend the extra money and get Reserve Privé, I think go for it. And I don't think you would be really making a mistake there because it's worth the money. It's a fantastic quality, unique smelling scent. But again, if you want to save the money, you're more than welcome to, and you can do it with something like this. You're going to get a product that does basically the same thing, just at a lower price. The only difference is it's just not Givenchy. It's not the name brand. Other than that, it really gets the job done. Running down to the end with FOMO, Garry's Den, Les Parfums. This came out when Dior Homme Parfum 2014, 2020 was still floating around, although expensive. You know, $180 to $200 is where it was. That one's now been discontinued, and now it is very hard to find. The other day, I found some testers for 140 bucks. I sent out an email. I posted over on my community tab here on YouTube, and you guys snatched them up, and they were gone within minutes, as is how it usually goes. So make sure you're subscribed to my mailing list and my YouTube channel so you can check my community tab. Highly recommend it. I'm going to get you a lot of cool fragrances and save you a lot of money, but you know, that's kind of where we're going to be at with Dior Homme Parfum. If you want to get the real deal, you're just got to be on the lookout, have some luck, and be following me closely, and I'll be able to get you some. But you know, it's probably going to be expensive and it's going to go quick. If you don't want to go through all of that, you can get FOMO Garry's Den. This is a parfum concentration as well, and it's basically spot on as well. Using the oud, using the iris, it's got that rose as well, just some of the leather, of course. Everything about this is Dior Homme Parfum rebottled, essentially, and the quality is so good too. This is a really, really impressive blend and is around $40. And last up for this video, we have Dumont Nitro Red Pour Homme Intensely. Done a video on this, featured it here and there, and I've said before, this isn't like a cut and dry clone, but you know, I kind of still felt like I could put it in this video anyway. It's basically borrowing from a lot of popular designer fragrances and, you know, some other clones as well, I guess. A little bit of Bleu, a little bit of Aquatic, a little bit of Bubblegummy Sweet, just all sorts of stuff. Invictus, Y, all of that stuff, you know. Kind of just a conglomerate of what is really popular right now mixed into one, you know, even some Hawas and stuff. It's got this watermelon fruitiness instead of a plum, but still there. It's just, I really love how it smells. It got really popular, most notably the original, but this Intensely is better. It's better in every way. It's a little bit stronger, it's richer, and it's better performing, and has a magnetic cap as well. If you already have the original, you might not need to just go out and buy this right now, but if you don't have it, you can just go for this one and be good. I think for the money, which is around $40 to $45, it's a fantastic scent. And when you combine everything that I just mentioned, and especially that performance, it's a no-brainer. You can get yours at the perfume box and use code CHAOS10, save 10% off site-wide there as well. And they carry all of the Dumonts and a bunch of other cool stuff. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. My 2025 clone fragrance buying guide. You got to check these out. These are amazing in their own way. Links will be down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.